Around this time last year, I was finishing up one of the craziest years of my life, my first year in college. After my exams finished, I was really excited to just kind of jump right into things, and so I did. I started work, 2 days after I got home. I got home on a Saturday, started work on a Monday. I kept uploading weekly videos, kept dedicating a lot of time to extracurriculars, and kept, trying to keep my social life up, keeping friends and so on. It became pretty obvious pretty quickly that I was in way over my head. I tried and I failed to keep up with these things, and I ended up feeling very overwhelmed and very anxious about this because I knew that I could do these things. I knew that I've done them in the past, all in combination. I've worked those hours before. It didn't seem like a big deal to me to take on this stuff. I didn't understand why I couldn't do it anymore. Like, what changed from me during the school year to me in the summer? Why did I become a failure? That's at least how it felt, right? I just couldn't figure out why I couldn't string everything together. Of course, looking back on that now, it becomes fairly obvious what happened. I changed a ton during the school year, right? Like, I became effectively a new person. I never really had time for that to sink in, especially second semester. And so what happened was, I came back here and I started to work and I started to do all of these things that I was excited to do, but eventually all these changes just piled up to the point where they became crippling. I couldn't really do anything, let alone everything. So my work suffered, my relationship suffered, my friendship suffered, videos suffered, extracurriculars suffered, like everything was kind of down in the dumps. I ended up taking off from my job early. I ended my contract early so that I could have some time off before school, and it was like my body rebelled because I spent, a couple weeks just straight up in bed. And I'm not sure how much of that was physical, like did I catch a virus, or how much of it was mental, like was everything kind of just like hitting me like a brick wall. But I know that that's a place that I never really want to be to again. Now, I think that, my situation is not that different from most college students, and that's why I'm making this video, because I feel like every college student feels the pressures that I felt. On one hand, you have these kind of internal pressures, right? This pressure to succeed and to get ahead. And on the other hand, you have these kind of external pressures, right? Like you need to make money to pay tuition. Your job wants you there ASAP. Your boss wants you there ASAP. And also you see your peers just jumping right into things, starting at these, crazy internships, whatever, spending all of their holidays working. And you feel like, if you don't do that, you're worse than them, or you're gonna fall behind in some way. I think that the pressure that is missing here is the pressure that I wish I had at the end of last year, that hopefully I can be to some of you, is a pressure to rest, like a pressure to take some time off. Because I honestly believe that if I had taken a week or two off at the start of the summer and just allowed myself to decompress, allowed all of those changes to sink in and for me to be mentally and emotionally ready to get back to doing work, then I wouldn't have blown up as I did. Coming from a sports background, I have always known, right? If you do a hard workout, you need to rest in order to recover. Rest acts as a recovery agent. It's when you're tired, it's your body telling you, hey, I need to recover. The same is true mentally, right? When you're mentally tired, you need recovery. But for me, I wasn't tired here, right? Like, I was very energized and passionate about the things that I was doing. But what I failed to recognize was that rest is not only recovery when you're tired, but it allows for accumulated stresses to sink in, and it allows you to return to a normal and those stresses to dissipate. So I was kind of unaware of this, right? Like, I didn't know that you needed rest in these situations as well. And it's also very hard to recognize these situations, I think, where you are energized, but you have a bunch of accumulated stress. And I think for me, at least, I've found that I just kind of have to force myself to take some rest. Like, I recognize, after a long period of stress, for example, a semester at school, I have to force myself to take time off now, because I realize that I'm going to be energized at the end. Like, that's just who I am. I'm a passionate person. I think a lot of you are like me. At the end of the day, you kind of just have to recognize, like, no one is a superhuman. No one is a robot. Everyone is human, and part of being human means you need rest. And that rest is not always just needed when you're exhausted, although it is needed when you're exhausted, but also sometimes when stress has been accumulating. So if you're in that situation, feel free to take a little bit of time, let things sink in, just be quiet for a bit, and then return back to real life. And I promise you won't miss out on that much, and it could be tremendously beneficial when it prevents you from burning out. So this year I kind of came back from school and I was in pretty much exactly the same mental state. I was like very excited to get back to doing things back home. I was, I just had a lot of plans, a lot of energy. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. But I remembered last year and I was like, okay, I'm gonna force myself to take some time off here. I'm gonna take a week and a half, 2 weeks. And so I did. And for a couple days, I was like, yeah, I don't need this, I'm fine. I don't need rest, whatever. And then for about a week, I hit like an absolute wall. Like everything was sinking in at once. And in the past couple days, things have kind of just returned to a pretty normal state. And I feel like that's about time when I'm ready to get back into things. And so that's what I'm doing now, making videos. And I've got something very big that I'm gonna be revealing soon. Not ready to reveal it just yet, but very shortly. Let's just say the next year of my life is gonna be a little insane. So I'm very excited to get to that, and I feel like I'm ready to, now that I've taken some time off. So again, if you're like me, let me just be a little pressure, a little voice in your ear telling you to take some time off and to rest, even if you're excited and you don't feel like you need it, because it can be really beneficial. So, thanks for watching this video. Feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments or by leaving a like or a dislike. I'm John Fish. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you shortly.